appreciated that you took the extra 2 minutes so that he could make it to the committee. Senator Van Hollen, if you're ready, you're up.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Senator Shaheen, thank you for taking a little more time. Let me also just second what Senator Shaheen, I'm sure others have said about the importance of making the equity fix. I know, Mr. Nathan, that's something you've focused on. So thank you and your team at the DFC for all you're doing. I want to pick up on a question that I understand was asked earlier on political risk insurance. Because, of course, the DFC grew out of OPIC, and OPIC specialized in political risk insurance. My understanding is that we could be helping a lot of investments in Ukraine potentially, which is going to be essential for reconstruction in Ukraine, but that there's an impediment right now in terms of the scoring on political risk. Is that right? And if you could please talk a little bit about that.
Well, you're absolutely right that political risk insurance is an extremely valuable tool for mobilizing private capital, which is really what DFC is all about, mobilizing private capital to address the kinds of issues that we've been discussing today. You're also right that political risk insurance, particularly war risk insurance, is key to attracting private capital today in Ukraine for obvious reasons. Taking that tail risk off the table for potential lenders or investors is critical so that they can focus on making the commercial and business analysis and not have to worry about the larger macro or war issues. You're also right that the tool is somewhat constrained at the moment. And here I don't want to go too deep on the technicalities of it, but it's not quite for a scoring reason, but because of a disagreement about whether political risk insurance on debt should be considered as a guarantee or as insurance. The BUILD Act talks about political risk insurance as an insurance tool. That's our position, and if we are able to use political risk insurance to its full promise, I think the potential to make impact in Ukraine for financing not only recovery in the future, but today to help businesses stay alive and have money flowing to the private sector today is huge.
And this disagreement you're referencing is, it's my understanding that's a disagreement between DFC and OMB. Am I correct about that?
That's correct.
Okay. So, and if we took OMB's interpretation, would DFC actually be more constrained in providing political risk insurance than OPIC was?
You're very well informed. Yes, that is exactly the case.
Right.
The issue there is whether we would need to obligate subsidy against, or our appropriation against political risk insurance, not something OPIC ever did or we've viewed that we've ever had to do. And in situations like Ukraine, which is obviously of greater risk than most other markets today for clear reasons, the amount of subsidy that would have to be obligated, if we were even allowed to do that, would be very large. Or we would have to price the product in a way that no person would ever accept that pricing and use the tool to begin with.
Right.
So I think you're exactly right.
I appreciate that. Look, I was here for the discussions over transforming OPIC into DFC, and I think I can speak, at least for most members, that the idea was to expand the authorities of DFC compared to OPIC, not constrain them in any way from what OPIC had. So it would be a step backwards if folks are essentially saying that DFC does not have the tools when it comes to political risk insurance that OPIC had. If I could just turn quickly to just some of the internal machinery, and I know the way DFC is set up, you need other agencies to provide input. But, my team recently met with representatives from a company called Africell, which is a U.S. company investing in telecommunications networks in Africa without using Chinese technology, trying to encourage the move away from that. But they found their experience with DFC painfully slow, and they ended up going to look for others. Could you describe any way we can help you? And I know this is a sort of an open question, but what can we all do to help turn around the to help fix the timeliness of your decisions so you can be more flexible and nimble?
Well, thanks for the question. First, I should say Africell is an important partner of ours. So they've received $100 million of financing. We've supported their expansion in Sierra Leone. I visited them there in Gambia, and are considering ways that we can support their expansion elsewhere in Africa. These situations are complicated. There's multiple factors that go in. They experienced some financial difficulty and defaulted on our loan. So we're in the process of helping them get through that. They've also been quite effective in speaking to people about that. But in general, I agree with the thrust of your question, which is we need to be faster. We need to be more responsive. We need to be more responsive to clients. A part of that is making sure that we're organized in a way that can address client needs with our full suite of tools that can have consistent business development in a sector related to clients. That's why we're realigning the investment organization around our priority sectors so we can have that consistency. And in terms of the process of reauthorization, there's a whole set of issues that slow us down, that create uncertainty. Some of them have been addressed today, issues related to certification and notifications. Some of it is just the nature of what we do, that through the know your customer process, there's uncertainty. Through the vetting process, there's uncertainty. It's necessary that we do that. I don't want to change our standards on that. But streamlining approvals and certifications and notifications and those kind of things would allow us to be quicker. Working with our board to be quicker with approvals is important. Getting through the kind of vetting that I mentioned in a more expeditious manner would mean that we can meet those client needs more rapidly and be more responsive.
Thank you. I look forward to following it up with you on some things we can do to help. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Van Hollen.